It is an honor to be standing in front of greatness today and to speak about greatness. And today, greatness wears the face of a man. And the story of that man is one that was conceived in the waters of little beginnings.
I feel immensely privileged to welcome such an incredibly distinguished audience to this 2024 edition of the Obafemi Awolowo Prize for Leadership Award ceremony. 12 years ago, the prize was instituted by the Obafemi Awolowo Foundation to encourage, recognize, reward, and celebrate excellence in leadership. We have painstakingly followed that mandate while carefully nurturing and protecting the integrity of the award and its processes. The bar for qualification for the prize is set very high, and the conditions are very stringent. The result is seen in the very small number of leaders who have been considered worthy of the award since its inception.
Today is the fourth time that the Obafemi Awolowo Leadership Prize is being awarded. The first awardee was our Nobel laureate, Professor Wole Soyinka. The second awardee was the former president of the Republic of South Africa, Mr. Thabo Mbeki. And the third awardee was the well-known promoter of quality tertiary education in Nigeria and the successful agricultural farmers in Ekiti State, Are Afe Babalola. The fourth awardee at today's ceremony is the renowned Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, President of the African Development Bank. You will hear more about him, about his tremendous achievements, even more spectacular performance as President of the African Development Bank.
My sisters and brothers of Nigeria, what a fitting way to recognize Africa's optimist in chief and Nigeria's gallant son. Tanzania is one of many states or African states that has greatly benefited from its dynamic and astute leadership. A distinguishing feature of his leadership is the ease with which he works collaboratively with all development stakeholders, from heads of state and government, national leaders, private sector leaders, to civil society organizations, regional and international organizations, and non-state actors in developing, promoting, and standing up for the best interest of Africa. That is Dr. Adesina.
Climate change is stealing the food of Africa's table. These were the words I first learned from an African leader when he spoke at an event at the United Nations General Assembly. On that bright day in late September 2019, this African leader issued a challenge to kings, to presidents, and to other global leaders. This African leader then continued by saying, in Africa, we may be the victims of the climate breakdown, but we are not beggars. So when that particular meeting at the United Nations concluded, all presidents, all kings, all majesties all other global leaders were mesmerized by one person and by one person only. And that obviously is Dr. Adesina. I call him my dear friend, my big brother, my partner.
In this poem, hope is what picks up your voice from the dirt and hands it back to you. Other times, hope is the audacious mouth that speaks for you. That is to say, sometimes hope is a man. I asked a farmer if there was a special fertilizer to make a country grow. He said without blinking, hope, the four-letter words that cuts the common man's tongue, that breaks his strongest hoe and eats up the clouds in the sky. So to irrigate his thirsty soil, he must toil and toil until sweat pours from his body like rain. And so like a cynical philosopher, I walked around in the daytime with a lamp searching for that man. But I have seen goodness, and I know that one man can begin the revolution to change Africa.
4 a.m. in the morning, I received a phone call from Dr. Adesina. Patrick, let's be bold here. Why don't we jointly develop the largest, the biggest adaptation program, not just for Nigeria, not just for Africa, but for the world? And now a few years later, with the support of all these heads of state here, from Tanzania to Comoros, from Ethiopia to Togo, from Kenya to Senegal to Nigeria, this Africa Adaptation Acceleration Program, the president of Ethiopia indicated it, is delivering because, dear Akin, because of you.
I have known kindness like the face of that man, emerging from the Ibadan rainstorms. The gallant seedling that survived the erosion that washes away the soul grew into a fruit-bearing tree, giving back to the world.
Because of you, $25 billion of climate finance is on the table, it's flowing. Because of you, millions of smallholder farmers from Makueni to Maputo have access to drought-tolerant crops. Because of you, President Adesina, billions of dollars of infrastructure from Mombasa to Kinshasa, from the highlands in Ethiopia to the islands in Comoros are now climate resilient. Because of you, Africa can feed the world. Because of you, Africa will feed the world.
Dr. Adesina, Akinwumi, like a true child of God, breathed life into a deteriorating scene, and no man who lacks courage can speak to the clouds. Dr. Adesina, Akinwumi, the one who raised his pen and struck a blow in the armor of poverty, and look, it bleeds, answering the call yesterday to serve as the People's Minister of Agriculture, and today the President of the African Development Bank. Oh well, is it not true what they say about the scope of his wisdom, vast as the seven seas? Is it not true what they say about his integrity, solid as the rock of ages that cleft only for the weak and vulnerable to find protection? Oh, is it not true what they say about his hands? They carry freedom like gifts of gold, and there is a basket of harvest in every field he steps his feet. And under his wings, the four-letter words hope no longer cuts the common man's tongue. It rolls up like thunder and strikes the heart with joy.
I join those who have praised this amazing son of Africa. Our presence here is a testimony of the respect and high esteem that Dr. Adesina is held in our countries and indeed across the continent. Inspirational leader, a leader who is selfless, highly committed, a visionary, and one who is driven in the lives of millions of people with tenacity and with relentless pursuit of excellence.
Like Chief Awolowo, our honoree today has exemplified the values that have shaped the course of history at all the institutions he has headed. I am therefore thrilled that the Obafemi Awolowo Leadership Prize is set out to honor a prophet in his home today. This is the power of standing for one's convictions and serving humanity purely.
Oh, I will sing the name Akinwumi, but who does not desire the courage of the man who dares to be different, who sits in halls of power and chooses to sing for those who have lost their voice? This truth my mouth will not forget. And when we remember the better angels of our civilization, we will remember you, Dr. Adesina. In their thousands, farmers marched in your praise. You who carved opportunities for them out of giant stumbling blocks and knocked down the cankerworm structure of middlemen taking endless bites from their hope. Oh, the labor of our heroes past is finally bearing fruit at last.
From my early days, I was influenced by the same drive as Chief Awolowo. I promised myself then that if I ever got into any position at all, I will run welfareist and people-centric policies. My heartbeat has always been about people, nothing more and nothing less. My life is only as useful to the extent that it is used of God to do my utmost to transform the lives of people. Awo inspired me. Decades ago, the perfume of building hope dropped off on me. It's a fragrance that still lingers on today. So, as I stand here before you today to receive the Obafemi Awolowo Prize for Leadership, I am humble, I am inspired, and I am motivated. I feel a new sense of responsibility. I'm reminded today of the words of Martin Luther King Jr. History has thrust upon me a responsibility from which I cannot turn away.
Chief Obafemi Awolowo, eyes full of stars, dreamt of this sufficiency. And when we remember the better angels of our future, we will remember him. Dr. Akinwumi, unlike the cynical philosopher, we looked and we found. You who desires to live a Nigerian, die a Nigerian. May God grant you your sacred wish that on the day of resurrection, you will raise the Nigerian flag high into the heavens. We prayed and you came to us, not just as hope, but as a complete answer. Africa's optimist in chief. Congratulations.